Okay, now summing up my trip in Florida. Um, Roads, really good conditions. Fun riding mostly in the interior of Florida. Like I said, the coasts were pretty straight. Um, the East Coast is extremely commercial. Lots of stuff going on there with hotels and businesses, and very crowded. The West Coast, not so much. If you're looking for more rural experience, definitely the West Coast is the place to be. I didn't find the Everglades all that interesting. They were basically big, flat, marshy areas, what it appeared to me, and very hot. Did not stay there, just kind of rode through it. Not that interesting. As I said, the my favorite beer in Florida was Swamp Ape, made by the Florida Brewing Company. Really tasty beer if you like good beer. Florida is definitely a retirement state at most of the campgrounds, except on weekends when there were families with small kids. I was probably 15 to 20 years younger than everybody else there, and I'm 55, so definitely a retirement state. There is sand and seashells everywhere you go in Florida. Pretty much doesn't matter where you are, the interior, coast, whatever. So in my very unscientific opinion, Florida is basically a big sandbar that people have built up on. Can't imagine being there in the summer. I experienced temperatures from 40 degrees some nights, as high as 95 degrees on some days. It was that hot when I was down by the Keys, and even the locals were complaining about the weather. Florida did inspire me to watch several movies. I watched Apollo 13, I watched The Right Stuff, and for fun I watched The Reluctant Astronaut with Don Knotts. Granted, it's a pretty childless movie and probably most appreciated by a 10 to 12 year old. But whether you're a 10 or 12 year old or not, I recommend that movie if you need to enjoy something that makes you feel like a 10 or 12 year old while you watch it, wine, whatever, float your boat. A fun movie. I also watched one of my favorite Humphrey Bogart movies, Key Largo, while I was in Key Largo. Seemed to be a natural thing to do. Other than the references to fishing and I suppose hurricanes, no resemblance to the Keys of today. But a great movie, and everybody should watch that one. One of the best bogey movies of all time. The riding around Highlands Hammock State Park was fairly enjoyable. There are both orange groves and cattle ranches on the same roads side by side, which can make for a rather unusual nasal experience. But the roads were enjoyable to ride around there. Lots and lots of turkey vultures, which I believe I put some pictures on earlier, but I'll stick a couple of those below as well. I found the vultures pretty fascinating. Beautiful birds in flight, a little disgusting when they're picking on a carcass. But hey, that's nature. That's what I'm out here for. About halfway through my trip through Florida, I hit the 3,000 mile mark of my trip, and so it was time to take the bike in for an oil change and a safety check. I went to the Harley dealer in New Smyrna, Florida, and they got me in right away, and I was out of there in about 2 hours. Nothing was found wrong with the bike, and so I was on the road again. By the way, New Smyrna is also apparently the shark attack capital of the United States, but I'm not a big water guy, so not an issue, and it was also winter, so there wasn't hardly anybody in the ocean. So there wasn't hardly anybody in the ocean, and didn't hear about any shark attacks, so everybody survived. The best riding I had in Florida, as I said, was around the Ocala National Forest. Some great roads around there, nice curves and just nice roads to ride. The best campground I stayed at while in Florida was definitely the Highlands Hammock State Park, mostly because the trails they had were really nice, the best I've walked so far at any campground, and all the camp rangers, whatever you call them, were extremely friendly and helpful, and very nice people. The coolest thing I went to in Florida was by far Solomon's Castle. I stated earlier that everybody needs to go there, and I'm going to state it again. Solomon's Castle, Howard Solomon is a terrific guy, does amazing work. Um, you're missing out if you don't check it out. So to sum things up, basically, Florida is a really nice place to visit. Lots of things to do, whether you want to do the nature thing or you want to go to theme parks. A little of something for everybody. So I definitely recommend going to Florida at some point, whatever your interest may be. However, it's a great place to visit, but I don't think I'd want to live there, but I can probably say that about just about any place. So take that with a grain of salt and go check out Florida sometime.